Warning to check trigger warnings for all books that are mentioned.
Happy Pride Month, two boys who say not just girls, witches that do ballet, first sons in love with British royalty, subway time travel sapphics, trans men pretending to be princes of foreign nations, soccer gays, girls in love with their best friends, Captain America and their boyfriend, gender fluid gods of mischief, Greek warriors, Rufus and Mateo, email demigods, ghost boyfriends, and you. As you may or may not realize from this list, most of these books are the OG queer books. In the following lists, these books will not come up again even though they can still be applied. Right after this will be a section on which each of these phrases corresponds to, and then after that, sapphic books, then Achillean books, books of M-Slip rep, then a spec rep, trans rep, and finally just a wrap-up of books that include LGBTQ+ stuff.
Boys Who Say Not Just Girls is Jasper Fahey from 6 o'clock. Witches That Do Ballet is from These Witches Don't Burn. First Sons in Love with British Royalty refers to Red, White, and Reupload.
Subway time travel sapphics refers to the main characters in One Last Stop. Trans men pretending to be princes of foreign nations refers to Nina's current partner from the King of Scars duology. Soccer gays refer to the characters in Running with Lions. I am not exactly sure which book Girls in Love with Their Best Friend means, but it's probably the song Jenny by Steel Killers. Captain America and their boyfriend should be, well, Captain America and Bucky. Gender fluid gods of mischief should be referring to Loki from the Magnus Chase series. Finally, while I am aware that Greek warriors can be argued for the Song of Achilles, I am quite sure that it is referring to the Greek demigods and the rather than Earth.
Rufus and Mateo are their main characters and they both die at the end. Emo Demigods refers to Nico D'Angelo from the Heroes of Olympus series, and Ghost Boyfriends refers to the main couple in Cemetery Boys. And of course, you. Happy Pride Month. First up, sapphic or woman-loving woman or non-binary loving woman books. So it's either a romance or this is the main ship of the book. First up, This Is How You Lose the Time Warp by Max Gladstone. It's an enemies to lovers adult sci-fi. Think time-traveling pen pals. Now this book combines high science fantasy and a bunch of poetic stuff, so if you don't like that, maybe don't read this. Juliet Takes a Breath is a contemporary coming of age. Starring a Puerto Rican lesbian who takes on an internship, this book details what that entertains and is filled with intersectional feminism. Set in a world somewhere in the cross between sci-fi and fantasy, a human girl and a girl who was made have a love that could spark a revolution. Warning that this book is 800 pages long. However, since it's high fantasy and it's not even a series, that's actually not even that long. Narrated from multiple perspectives, this book includes dragons, rich world building, and a sapphic romance at its core. It also reminds me of the Throne of Glass series, like in a good way. Did I mention that there's political intrigue? Set in an Asian-inspired fantasy world, every single year a couple of girls are selected to be sex slaves for the king. The sapphic romance in this book is forbidden romance, and the main theme of the book is finding hope once it is hopeless and female empowerment. Now for the Achillean books, note that because I usually do not read Achillean books, these are all the things that I have seen others recommend. This is romance, and this is a graphic novel drawn and written by Alice Oseman. It is part of a series that is so far not yet completed. I think there are supposed to be 5 books. Currently, the first 3 volumes are out, and there is a Netflix adaptation in the works. If you've read Solitaire or This Winter by Alice Oseman, then yes, this is the background couple in those 2 books. This book is free to read online, and from what I've heard, the art is amazing and the story is quite cute. If you want the link to reading it online, just ask in the comment section. If you are a fan of contemporary YA, you probably already recognize the names of the 2 authors who co-wrote this book. According to the things that I've seen, this book incorporates both of the authors' writing styles really well, and what happens is that these 2 boys have a meet cute and then figure out what the universe has in store for the both of them.
Boyfriend material is what happens when fake dating suddenly starts feeling a bit too much like real dating. YA queer coming of age that is written by an actually queer authors with neurodivergent rap as well, featuring gay superheroes, best friends to lovers, and somebody said that there would be a bunch of secondhand embarrassment. Finally, there are these two if you somehow have not read them yet. The next few books will contain M-spec main characters or major characters. Radio Silence by Alice Osman is more of casual rap than purposefully being about the main character's bisexuality. This bisexuality gets brought up a couple times, I think, regarding the main character's memories of one character, and then that's it. The story is about Francis and Alan's platonic love story, something around there. This is one of the only contemporary books that I have ever liked in my life, and I think it's one of my favorite books when I read it last year, so it's highly recommended. When Hani comes out as bi to her friends invalidate her bisexuality by saying that she can't be bi if she's only dated guys. And so Hani says that she's actually dating Ishu, when she's actually not dating Ishu. Later, Hani agrees to a deal with Ishu for Ishu to pretend to be dating Hani, while Hani tries to make Ishu popular among the girls. Thing is, Hani has an actual crush on Ishu. Now, this is how things play out. The Trolls of Apollo series is a follow-up series to the Heroes of Olympus series, which is a follow-up to the Percy Jackson and the Olympus series, so you should probably only read this if you've read the two other series before. So, after the events of the last book in Heroes of Olympus, Apollo is thrown down to Earth as a mortal, and this is what happens. His bisexuality doesn't really matter. Now for the books featuring characters either on the aromantic spectrum or the asexual spectrum or both. In The Trouble by Dara DeFore, the main character is aromantic, allosexual, and a guy. Note that if you're asexual and sex repulsed, then probably don't read this since there are sex scenes in it. In Not Your Backup by C.B. Lee, the main character, who just so happens to be asexual, realizes that even though she is the only one who doesn't have power in a supercharged group, that doesn't mean that she doesn't belong on the front lines of the fight as well. This is the third book in the Not Your Sidekick series, so you should probably read the first two books first, which also contain queer main characters. Take Me to Your Nerdy Leader by Haley Gonzalez has been recommended multiple times by multiple aromantic accounts on both Instagram and Tumblr, so I'm just going to include this here. This is an own voices book for asexuality in which the asexual main character actually says the words that they are asexual. It's an extremely short story that you can find for free online about demisexuality and only demisexuality. And finally, these two the classics. Shout out to Loveless by Alice Osman being the book that made me realize that I was asexual in the first place. So this book is about this girl Georgia who goes to Durham University and discovers that she is aro ace and proceeds to come out to her friends. Meanwhile, the Jughead comics feature Jughead, who was aro ace, and the amount of times I have heard people talking about it. Like all of the aro blogs on Tumblr that I follow are just hopelessly obsessed with it, and probably for good reason too, since the things that Jughead Jones goes through, such as this scene, is what many Arab people go through in real life, so it's quite easy to relate to him. Also, if you know about Jughead Jones from Riverdale, warning that this character is very different in the comics. Now, for books centering the transgender experience, this is including non-binary people. Felix Love has never been in love, and since he just so happens to be Black, trans, and queer, he doesn't think he ever will be. However, one day some anonymous person online starts posting pictures of him before he transitioned, his dead name, and some couple other things, causing him to start catfishing the person. This spirals until Felix finds himself in the middle of a quasi-love triangle. When Ben comes out to their family as non-binary, their family kicks them out and they have to stay with their relatives until they finish high school. Whilst finishing high school, they become friends with this guy and proceed to get a crush on him. I Am Jazz is only 28 pages long and is generally aimed at a younger audience to help them understand transness. Now that's the end of those categories, and the rest of the books that I will mention, I just feel they did really well in incorporating queer people into the story without making their queerness the only focus of the story. The Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers is an amazing example of this. By the way, it starts from The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, but you can read those books in whichever order you prefer. The Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo also includes queer characters whose entire personality is not their queerness. That's the end of the video, everyone. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more like it, subscribe and leave me a comment telling me about it. Have a nice day and a nice Pride Month. Okay, bye!